Welcome back for another book review. Today we are talking about this one. So this is You Are Divine, A Search for the Goddess in All of Us by Dawn Reno Langley PhD. So this book is kind of like the Christian into New Age, but like just for women, and a very particular set of women, might I add. I gave this one a 3 out of 5 star. So when I grabbed this book, this was not what I was anticipating this book to be, so that was kind of a bit of a letdown, to be honest. It's very focused on the traditional female experience. So again, I like to try and be a little bit more inclusive, and I identify more with like the not traditional women, because again, my cycle, not sacred. It tries to kill me. I can't have bio kids. And so like these books, that's like your whole focus, really is alienating. So I feel like as other women who also have, you know, bodies that don't work properly, you can't, you know, physically birth a child, you can't carry a child, you can't have, you know, this great connection to your cycle, whether it's because your cycle is awful and tries to kill you, or you just don't have a uterus to begin with, or whatever. I mean, there's 1,000 different reasons why. Whether you're trans or you just have medical reasons, there's a lot of women that don't have the working body of a traditional female like person. And this book is only for them. Like, it is so alienating. I, as somebody, just as I still identify as women, but like, I know that a lot of like trans and potentially non-binary folks are also probably not going to relate to this book as well, because there is such an emphasis on your ability to birth children. So obviously the recommended audience for this is going to be for those people. If you are a woman who has a working uterus, who loves to, you know, make your cycle to be this sacred thing, and you're coming from like a Christian to moving into like a new age thought process, this is a great book for you. Would I buy this one? No. I don't really buy books that make me feel alienated. So for this book, I did take a few quotes that I figured we would just go over just to give you some idea of like why I hated this book so much. So it literally started on page 1. Yep, that's how far we got. And my note literally says, here we go. The story behind this book starts with a woman, not me. The story starts with Mary, mother of Jesus. And you're just sitting there like, yep, that's Llewellyn right there. Okay, that's fine. Whatever. So you know what's off to, again, that's why my quote is literally, here we go. We're going into that. All right. Because again, I'm quite adverse to anything Christian. It's just not my favorite thing. So then our next one comes from page 22. There is no power greater than the power to create. I'm not talking about creating a book or a piece of art. I'm talking about the original act of creation, the creation of human life. And my note literally was just, well, just forget me, I guess. Because like, that's just a really horrible thing to say to somebody. This kind of a book, I feel like just needs to be marketed a bit differently, because I can't be the only person that just gets totally disheartened. And honestly, I don't know what the equivalent would be for men, but I'm sure it's there. There's gotta be dudes out there to fight the fight for that one. But standing in as a representation of the female existence over here, like, for trans women, non-binary women, trans feminine, I just barely finished this. I'm trying to find all the new words to describe different groups of peoples. But all of us in that category that are not able to like create human life, like, you're gonna feel so alienated with this book. And just the fact that the author had to go out and make a point to say that you can't even use the, like, so many pagans out here will be like, oh, well, like, creation, fertility of all things, not just for birth. And then this is like, no, screw you, it is just for birth. Which honestly, going back to the other book actually, this one talked about it a little bit. We're talking about this on Patreon the same week I think that you're seeing this. I'm recording in bulk if you can't tell. So we'll talk about it on Patreon. But like, in that book, it talks about this experience where you just get so alienated, and like a lot of these like modern pagan beliefs really have this like, again, we've talked about it in a lot of books. They worded it way better in that book, but in just general, this idea of like how sacred it is and how like reproductive centric a lot of paganism is, this just proved the point. And it's like, this is so alienating to so many people, myself included. Again, I can't have bio kids. You know what I can do? I can create two. I has created in the world. Give me a little bit of credit for what I'm doing. Like, it feels like such a weird thing to be like pushing this line throughout the book. Also, by page 35, I just wanted to make a note that it draws a lot of Christian, specifically, examples. So if that's gonna bother you, if you haven't already decided to check out of this book, that's just another reason why. So then on page 147, Aphrodite, the Greek goddess of love and beauty, is considered very creative. She throws herself completely into affairs of the heart or creative projects. She is the muse for dancers, writers, and artists. As I've mentioned before, and though she's no longer worshipped as the goddess of love, she receives a modicum of respect as a muse for the artist. Which, first of all, she starts it off with the Greek goddess of love, and then she's no longer worshipped as the Greek goddess of love. Don't know how that works. Also, like, I know we're really big into having the deities having more roles than, like, our ancestors gave them. That's cool. That's great. Who's saying that Aphrodite is not for love and is only for artists? Because, like, that's cool if you find that. I have never found that one yet in any of the books that we've read. Never is Aphrodite, like, for the creatives. Like, you could easily draw that, sure. But that's not, like, the norm. That's not the standard. And the fact that the author is constantly coming from a Christian background and using Christian examples and interviewees that are Christian, I don't know why that one. And, like, it just was giving, like, but, like, modern people don't, like, work with her vibes. And then lastly, we come to 160. A woman's womb is powerful, as we know. It is the place where life begins, and there is no greater power than to give birth. Really? No greater power? None? Because, like, I feel like there could be options, actually. That doesn't have to be the only one, you know? Like, it's helpful to some degree. Again, that's just, I read these two too close together, apparently, because this book covers that really well. Because no, actually, that's not true at all. This creates such an alienating and, like, excluding existence for women because, like, again, even if you just throw out, no offense, but just toss aside all the trans women, non-binary women, trans feminine is something trans feminine, that one, something like that, I think would also qualify for this. Again, learning phrases, learning different groups, but, like, pretty much anyone who has, like, is just not traditionally, like, born female, just bye-bye. And then from here, you would then be able to start excluding anyone who's had a hysterectomy, especially if they didn't have kids first, anyone who wants to be child-free, like, anyone who's, like, intersex or has any other biological reasons that, like, you physically cannot birth a child. Like, it just is so exclusionary, and, like, also is, like, putting women who can in the itty bitty teeny tiny little boxes that your only purpose in life is to birth more humans. That seems like that should be just a red flag to anybody. And again, I tend to side with the rainbow because, like, they're fun. And, like, they tend to be very, like, whatever letter they tend to be, of course there's assholes everywhere, but they tend to be quite more open, and honestly, like, there's a lot that come to my channel anyways, so, like, I feel more comfortable around them, and so naturally, like, I'm gonna be more aware of their experience as well. But as somebody who cannot have bio children, like, this is just such an alienating book. I can't imagine what it would be like for the trans community and, like, again, the other communities, but as a female who can't, I feel like we have a similar-ish situation where books like this are, like, really, and again, child-free. Like, you're just, like, you're going against the grain. You're supposed to do what you're supposed to. And, like, putting women into this random box. Again, I don't love that. I don't love that the only purpose that you serve as a woman is to use your body to create another human. It's cool that we can do that. But you know what we can also do is, like, make things as humans. Doesn't matter your gender. Like, we can do a lot of cool things as humans. We're not the only ones who can, like, procreate, and, like, there's other ways to do that across the globe, you know? Like, there are ways where, like, certain species don't need two opposites to come together to make a new. Like, remember biology 101, right? And so I don't know, I don't love books that have such an emphasis on telling women that your only purpose in life is to birth more children. That seems wrong, that seems rude, and it just is not a message I really love, because again, I try and be more inclusionary instead of exclusionary. So anyways, needless to say, I don't love this book. I only gave it a 3 because I feel like some people will like this. It's just definitely not for me. So anyways, I would love to know your thoughts on this one in the comments down below. As always, a huge thank you to my patrons. If you'd like to support me and get access to exclusive content, it is patreon.com/nightwillowcrafts. Make sure to like, comment, and subscribe. I post every single day. And until next time, thank you for watching, and blessed be.